Thank you to everybody with us here tonight. Thank you for joining us this evening. We come together to celebrate traditions from around the world. The three organizations presenting tonight are participating in this year's Indie Give campaign: the Colorado Springs World Affairs Council, Ormao Dance Company, and Colorado Springs Food Rescue. Tonight, we will celebrate world customs, the cultural diversity of the arts, and holiday food traditions that, as we know that food security is a worldwide issue. And at this point, I'm going to turn this over to Jamie, who will be talking to us about some of the New Year's traditions.
Thanks everyone for joining. There are many holidays and traditions worldwide to celebrate before 2021 hits, but I'm pretty sure that most of us are ready for the new year. So throughout tonight, we are going to be playing a Guess the New Year's Tradition game with you. And for each trivia question that we ask, want you to type in your answers in the chat. The first person who guesses correctly will be noted and their name will be thrown into a hat. So one grand winner will win a prize, and that person will be emailed after the event to receive instructions on where and when to pick up that prize. So Karen, if you can proceed to our first question. So this says, in which country a special New Year's bread is baked with a coin buried in the dough? The first slice is for the Christ child, the second for the father of the household, and the third slice is for the house. If the third slice holds the coin, spring will come that year, or early that year, I'm sorry. So think about which country you think that might be. We'll give you a couple seconds. And then we have some options here. So go ahead and throw your guesses in the chat. We'll give you a few seconds to type that in, and then we will reveal the answer. It is Greece. We have one more fun tradition before we hand it over back to Karen. In this country, children enjoy throwing pails of water out the window at midnight. Some believe that this rids their home of any evil spirits. We'll see if you know what this one is. Your options are Puerto Rico, India, Mongolia, Madagascar, or Bolivia. Go ahead and type your answers in the chat. We'll give you a few more seconds. I see some guesses. It is Puerto Rico. Looks like Alicia won. All right, I'm going to hand it over to Karen, and she's going to talk a little bit about the Colorado Springs World Affairs Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. The Colorado Springs World Affairs Council offers community education through our speaker programs, which regularly bring renowned experts at the forefront of policymaking and scholarship. These include distinguished authors, international thought leaders, and policymakers with direct expertise and experience in global issues. This fall, we were fortunate to have hosted notable speakers such as James Clapper, Kurt Volker, and H.R. McMaster. We also assist in facilitating professional exchange programs. These programs help strengthen U.S. engagement with countries around the world and cultivate lasting relationships by connecting current and emerging foreign leaders with their American counterparts through short-term visits to the United States. On a local level, we arrange professional, cultural, and social programs in our community that are tailored to the objectives of our visitors. More importantly, we have been the means through which several local individuals and organizations have connected with counterparts in other countries and even traveled to continue important work. We are opening the doors to Colorado Springs. Finally, we provide programming at a high school level. We believe that an investment in educating today's youth will empower this generation to seize new opportunities and face the economic and security challenges of the 21st century. Today's youth face challenges including working in a global workplace where 1 in 5 U.S. jobs is tied to international trade, and issues that are endemic to all human beings, such as environmental degradation, disease, and energy and water issues. Successful citizens will need to be knowledgeable about the world around them and be able to communicate in languages other than English. Our high school outreach includes annual programs, competitions, and in-classroom programs. Our youth, the leaders of the future, must continue to receive the knowledge they need to prepare for their future role. We need your continued support if we are to continue our mission in our community. Our only limitations are our resources and our capacity. We are a unique organization that is one of very few to provide the services that we do. With your help, we can continue to expand Colorado Springs World Affairs Council's work as the leading global affairs organization in the community. Please support us through our gift page.
Let's play some more games. So in this country, in the most western part, there is the traditional polar bear swim. People of all ages put on their bathing suits and plunge into the icy water for a cold dip. And I have actually participated in this program before. Maybe you have also. We'll give you some ideas of different countries: New Zealand, Moldova, North Korea, Russia, or Canada. Which do you think? Go ahead and type them in the chat. And the answer is Canada. This actually happens in British Columbia. All right, our next question is, in this country, people would drop molten lead in water and try to tell the future from the shape it made. A heart or ring shape meant a wedding, a ship a journey, and a pig plenty of food in the new year ahead. People also would leave a bit of every food that they'd eaten that day on New Year's Eve, kept it on their plate after midnight as a way to ensuring a well-stocked pantry. Where do you think this tradition comes from? Chile, Germany, Nepal, Denmark, or Laos? The answer is Germany. All right, now I'm going to hand this over to Janet, and she's going to talk to you about the dance company with us this evening.
Hi, I'm Janet Johnson. I'm the Executive and Artistic Director for the Ormao Dance Company. We are entering our 30th anniversary season, and so happy to be able to continue serving the Colorado Springs and Pikes Peak region with exciting creative work. We are an innovative and inclusive home for non-competitive dance and art. We focus on performances, a dance school, and our community engagement. But I'd also just like to make a note here that we recognize the importance of creating more awareness and opportunities for Black, Indigenous, and persons of color. And we are expanding to add greater cultural diversity in our classes, our guest artists, as well as our performing dancers and the communities that we serve. I'm going to start with the Performing Professional Modern Dance Company that you see here. And we have a reputation for our collaborations and our inclusivity, as well as our artistic excellence, and have been recognized many times by the Pikes Peak Arts Council. We collaborate with groups such as the Vocal Arts Ensemble, the Chorale, the Colorado Springs Philharmonic, and our performances also show up in places, not only in theaters, but also in museums, abandoned buildings, on the street, all kinds of places. You will find the Ormao professional dancers performing. And many times our performances, we engage as many international and nationally recognized choreographers as possible. And oftentimes we are working with choreographers from as far as New York and LA, but also Taiwan, France, and I'd like to share an example of that with you. So Karen, if you could share the video. This is a piece called Umbrella, and these are just excerpts. And this is by a choreographer from Taiwan named Lucas Cao. Thank you, Karen. I would just say that that experience with him was very rich. And again, an opportunity to work with someone from another country is something that we really look for frequently here at Ormao. So go ahead and go to the next slide. Another one of our programs is the Ormao Dance School. And I love these notes that are on here because dancing is proven to boost memory, improve flexibility, reduce stress, diminish depression, increase your energy, and it's certainly an opportunity to make friends. And we'd love to have anyone come. Our programs, our dance classes are open to the public, and we offer classes for ages 3 through adult, beginner through professional, and classes of ballet, modern, jazz, contemporary, lyrical, but also our new dance diversity classes are offered every Friday. And our students get to explore movement like in flamenco, classical Indian dance, West African dance, Irish. It's a really rich class, and we'd love to have more people in those classes. You can go to the next slide, please. Our community engagement programs is our third leg of our organization. And currently we are offering regular Dance for Parkinson's classes on Fridays. And those are taught by certified teachers. And certainly they are changing lives. And we continue to offer those classes through the pandemic as both a virtual and an in-studio offering. And then on the left-hand side, you'll see our Hands Are for Holding program. Hands Are for Holding is a new program that we are working with Tessa. It's a collaboration with Tessa. And if you're not familiar with them, they are the El Paso County leader in empowering victims who are victims of partner and sexual violence. And they provide the facilitators for us to do an in-school program where we talk about bullying and unhealthy relationships, and we use dance performance as a way to start a dialogue about boundaries, consent, all forms of bullying, and how to make good choices in everyday life situations. And I'd like to just read a quote from that community engagement program. This is from Christy Rigdon. She's the principal of Inspiration View in District 49. She said, "The students have a clear vocabulary to express their wishes and concerns surrounding healthy relationships and harmful behavior choices. The low risk, high engagement factor of an art form creates a long-term memory for all the information being taught." And go to the last slide. And last of all, I would just like to comment about Ormao and our ability to create dances and build community with this art form. This quote from Haley Tuggle was from our performance that we did outside in the parking lot. This fall, we've pivoted all of our performances to be outdoors in 2020, and we have more planned for 2021. And she said, resilience, and that is what this performance demonstrated, human resilience. It was bitter cold and dark, and yet the dancers were there. The musicians were there, the attendees were there. The pandemic rages, fires rage, and politics divide. Yet humanity lives on and we perform, we express. This performance made me realize that dance is not about movement, it's about hope. And tonight I went home with hope. So your support will ensure that Ormao can continue to offer opportunities to change lives by making dances and building community. Thank you so much, and I'll turn it back to Jamie.
That's a lovely quote. Thank you for sharing that, Janet.
Thanks.
Let's play some more games. This is your last opportunity to win some prizes. In an old tradition in this country, it says that good luck will come to you if you eat lasagna, but definitely don't eat any other type of noodle, especially not macaroni, because that will bring you bad luck. So which country is it? Is it Belize, Sicily, Egypt, Georgia, or Italy? The answer is Sicily. You're close. All right, last question of the night. This is a silly one. On New Year's Eve, yellow underwear is worn backwards to ensure good luck in the new year. Also, at the strike of midnight, people walk their luggage around the block, which is known to bring travel in the new year. My sister-in-law is actually from this country, and I've asked her about this, and it is true. Where is this tradition from? Mexico, Switzerland, Malaysia, Solomon Islands, or Colombia? And the answer is Colombia. All right, now I'm going to pass it over to Patience so we can hear about the Colorado Springs Food Rescue. Thanks so much for playing.
Hello, my name is Patience Kabwasa, and I'm the Executive Director of Colorado Springs Food Rescue. This year, because our gatherings look so different around the holidays, it's an extra special time to think about our food traditions, whether they're global or local, and what they mean to us. Food is what we do when we're together. And even though this year we're advised not to travel so that we can keep our community and our family members safe, we don't have to go far to affect the food system and make sure and ensure who has equitable access to it. Since the beginning of the pandemic, what used to be 1 in 6 is now 1 in 3 Coloradans are food insecure. Locally, Colorado Springs Food Rescue is on the front lines of food security in 3 ways. The first way is through access. Our mission is to cultivate a healthy, equitable food system in the greater Colorado Springs community. Our most vulnerable neighbors are the most food insecure. And since March, we have redistributed over 200,000 pounds of fresh foods to those households through our offices and our community partnerships through our no-cost grocery programs. A second way that we are combating food insecurity is through education. This year, in a safe, mask-wearing, physically distant way, our student interns participated in land-based farm education where they learned about food justice, soil biome, and health, and how to care and respect for the land, how to work in their communities, and the process of seed, time, and harvest. Through production, we've started with the soil. Our residential composting service picks up food scraps from the community, and they are baked into beautiful and nutritious soil that will feed our community and also our land, because in 2021, we will begin construction on the Hillside Hub, an urban farm where neighbors can cook, grow, access, and advocate for fresh food. We are only able to do this work because we're in community with you. We appreciate your support and your continued support as we work to cultivate a more equitable food system in Colorado Springs. And now we would like to show you a video, share a holiday tradition from our Director of Food Education, Erin Taylor, as she shows you how to make latkes.
Hi, I'm Erin from Colorado Springs Food Rescue, and I'm gonna show you how my family makes latkes. So if you've ever celebrated Hanukkah or seen someone celebrate it, you might have heard of latkes. Latke means a little oil in Yiddish, and today we think of them as potato fritters. They're humble peasant food from Eastern Europe, but the story of latkes takes us around the world. So Hanukkah is a minor Jewish holiday that it takes place in the darkest part of the year. Usually it falls in December, and it celebrates light. More specifically, it commemorates a moment in the 2nd century BCE, very long ago, when Judah Maccabee and his brothers defeated a king who wanted to assimilate Jewish people and basically not let them practice Judaism the way they wanted to. As the legend goes, after the Maccabees drove out King Antiochus, they lit the menorah in the temple, and there was only enough oil to last for 1 night, but it lasted for 8. So we eat oily foods on Hanukkah, and we light candles. So potatoes. Potatoes are from the Andes. So in 168 BCE, people in the Mediterranean would have never seen a potato. So why do we make latkes? In medieval Italy, people celebrated Hanukkah with a different fried pancake, a cheese fritter. It was a common celebratory food at the time, but cheese is expensive. So when potatoes eventually did make it to Eastern Europe in the early 1800s after a crop failure, Jewish peasants in the Pale of Settlement were like, yes, please, we will take the potatoes. And they developed a deep love and appreciation for the potato and started frying them for Hanukkah. Those particular potato lovers were my ancestors and the ancestors of a lot of American Jews, but not of all American Jews. Lots of Jewish people in the US don't have their roots or their tubers in Eastern Europe. And so there's actually a lot of other delicious fried stuff like jelly donuts and many other foods that people make on Hanukkah. But we are going to make latkes. Okay, so if you're following our recipe at home, the key thing for really crispy latkes is to get as much liquid as possible out of the potatoes before you mix in any of the other ingredients. And when I say potatoes, really you could use any number of root vegetables. I think sweet potato latkes are really good. think turnips or parsnips especially are really good, and you can like mix and match things together to get a combination of flavors you like. But right now I'm just using potatoes. And so first I've grated them and let them sit for a little bit with salt to really draw out that water. And then using a clean towel or a clean pillowcase or a cheesecloth or just a colander, you really want to wring out as much water as you can before mixing in the other stuff. So here I have my grated potatoes, and I'm just squishing them against the bottom of the colander with a bowl underneath as hard as I can. You can hear that squishy sound to get all the water out. Here's what the batter looks like after mixing in the other ingredients. There's chunks of onion and potato. There's a little bit of flour or breadcrumbs or matzo meal to hold it together. Also some egg, that's why it's yellow. And you can see I didn't fully follow the recipe, which is definitely how we do cooking in my house. I did not peel the potatoes because the skin has all the nutrition. The other key to crispy latkes is making sure that your oil is hot and plentiful before putting the latkes in the pan. The oil in the temple was olive oil, but olive oil has a very low smoking temperature, so it's a lot more likely to burn your latkes or set off your fire alarm. I've definitely done that. So neutral high temperature oil like canola oil or corn oil, even like chicken fat is pretty traditional even though it's not oil, are really good for latkes. So you can see that my oil is sizzling, and I put a little piece to test it, and once that started frying I knew it was ready. And I also use the shaping of the latkes as an extra opportunity to get more water out. You can see they're not that big, so they can all be spread out in the pan. It's definitely a labor of love. So you probably don't need directions for how to eat the latkes, but I will say that a long-standing battle or argument maybe in the world of latke eating is what to put on top. Are they better sweet with applesauce or savory with sour cream? Both things that store really well, right? So they would have been eaten in the winter in Eastern Europe where you had to have things that stored. So I like it with both. I don't think one of them has to win. But this is a pandemic and we're not going to the grocery store often. So right now we've got what we've got, which is some cranberry applesauce that my mom made for Thanksgiving. And I also have some really thick yogurt. And hope you enjoy some latkes.
Delightful.
So thank you to everybody who joined us today. Please consider supporting nonprofits in the IndieGive campaign. You can find our IndieGive donation pages in the chat function for Ormao Dance Company, the Colorado Springs Food Rescue, and the Colorado Springs World Affairs Council. I just want to say thank you to everybody. We appreciate you.